In 1985, Diane Ravitch, one of the former Assistant Secretaries of Education and a counselor to the Secretary of Education in the administration of President George H.W. Bush, addressed some of the problems that are part of public school education. One of my questions is public school education really equal throughout the United States? And is it really set up for the children? One of the prime school questions is about school equality, and does it really exist? And if you take that down a level or up a level, depending on how you look at it, are all schools in the same district educationally equal? Diane Ravitch says, it would be difficult to find a sustained period of time in our history when Americans felt satisfied with the achievements of their schools. From the early 19th century on, it has been commonplace to find a fairly consistent recitation of complaints about the low state of learning, the poor training of teachers, the insufficient funding of education, the inadequacy of school buildings, and the apathy of the public. In reality, many present complaints are reactions to hard-won reforms of the past. Though the educational preparation of teachers is more extensive than ever, at least when measured by degrees and years of formal schooling, the education of teachers is still a subject of intense criticism. The realization has dawned in many quarters that a credential from a state university or school is no guarantee that its bearer knows how to teach, what to teach, or loves teaching, or loves learning. So even though there have been many reforms over the years, the qualities of teachers do vary from teacher to teacher, and that means the education varies from student to student, class to class, and school to school. Educational analysis has relied on the sociological perspectives because it is easier to raise the level of educational attainment than it is to raise the level of educational quality. So staying in school or dropping out or getting a diploma can not always represent the same goal or the same level for everyone. And so if it were to be level, even if school officials defined what should be taught and learned during the years of schooling, part of it would still be dependent on the student, how they learned, and the teacher. So how do schools differ? Schools are made up of teachers and students, and they're made up of different districts, and some districts have more financial backing than others. Schools are not fully independent in their dealings with students. They are interrelated with and dependent on families, churches, the media, peer groups, and other agencies of influence. Schools can be considered as if they were machines, all operating in the same predictable manner. But if they're considered in that way, it is a false consideration. Teachers vary, administrators vary, students vary, communities vary, and therefore schools vary. The schools being complex human institutions composed of actors with different goals, different interests, and different capacities cannot be treated as if they were all interchangeable. My next question is, are schools really set up for children or for the convenience of the adults who administer the schools? It would be somewhat of an ideal world if you could say, yes, schools are set up just for the children and for their benefit and for their growth, but that is not reality. Schools are administered by adults. Adults administer according to their knowledge, their education, even according to the funding that is available to them. And so schools are set up as a combination of being for children and enhancing their education, and how they are administered by the teachers. This combination is not always the best, and it is not always the worst. In getting to know Diane Ravitch through her writing, she indicates that she is confident that schools were built to offer academic growth and opportunity through the attainment of rigorous expectations. But these rigorous expectations can be challenged by the levels that teachers are able to teach and by the levels of what students are able to do, dependent on their background and their mental capacity and even their physical capacity. So with that said, my question is, what are you as a potential teacher doing to help continue this hope of academic growth and opportunity? Thank you and have a good evening.